Hello, welcome to Who's On Next, the only podcast that requires a proof of purchase. Today I have with me a man who's worked on projects such as Monkey Wrench, Hazbin Hotel, Tales of the TMNT, Ollie and Scoops, and many others. It is Areg Savchenko.
Hello, it's me.
And how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. I need to turn on my fan because it's getting really hot in this room right now.
Oh, good.
It just hit me right as I was doing the intro. I'm like, I'm getting really hot in here.
Look. You don't gotta be that nervous. I am really no one special.
It's not even nervous. It's just sometimes when I'm sitting in my room for a while, I'm just like, I don't know. I exude so much body heat sometimes that my room just gets really hot.
I'm just imagining like steam coming from your head.
No, like I'm vibrating like like a fern, like a space heater, like just like
slowly getting redder.
I guess to get this started is what is it that got you into animation?
I just really enjoyed it a lot as a kid, and when I found out that it was something that you could do as a living, I got an interest. And at one point when I was 14, my dad got Adobe Flash working on his computer, and it was the one hobby that I did that I didn't get tired of after a week, so I just kind of kept doing it.
Yes, yep, that's how autism works.
Yeah, probably. I would not be surprised. I've never been officially diagnosed, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, I'd say like the majority of my friend circle is like it's one of those things where like even if they're not diagnosed, I'm like, as somebody who's had it their entire life, it's like a radar. I can just like tell after interacting with somebody for a while. I'm like, I'm pretty certain you have it. It's kind of,
I mean, like, yeah, the obsession with cartoons and especially Sonic the Hedgehog, it would explain a lot.
well, Sonic the Hedgehog I think is just an immediate giveaway. But
Yeah, probably.
have you met a non-autistic person that's like super into Sonic?
I don't want a profile, so I can't answer that.
Well, I guess what was like the first thing that you remember like really doing, like while you were like, if you were working on animation like as a kid or as a teenager, what was the first thing you really remember doing where you were just like really really getting into it, or like something you made like an early project?
So yeah, there was a lot of things I would do as a kid and kind of just start and stop, such as trying to make comics or trying to draw superheroes or do music or anything like that. With animation, I was watching a bunch of just online tutorials, and at first I was just kind of copying what the tutorials were doing, but when I would see the end result, it would excite me so much because I would just think, oh my god, I made something that actually looks like a cartoon. This is so cool. And I think something about just seeing those results got me really excited to keep going.
Were you into Captain Underpants? Because that's another thing I'm thinking about. Did you like the Flipporamas? That's what I was thinking of.
I loved Captain Underpants as a kid.
Well, that's what I was thinking of, like the Flipporamas, because I remember as a kid like doing those, like where you'd like he would always have little sections where you could like animate a fight scene by like just flipping the page back and forth.
Yeah, I remember those. I remember feeling the biggest PTSD when I saw them do that in the movie and then the page tore, because that happened to me so many times.
Well, it's like, I think it to me is also, it was just kind of an ingenious idea because that's technically explaining to children how animation works in a very simple way.
Yeah, the great thing about those books is that it was so encouraging of kids to just make your own stories, your own little comics, own cartoons, and showing how easy it is to really just do the basics of it.
Oh, I made comics as a kid, and I still have some of them.
Seriously?
I made a character called Fireman. He was made of fire.
Aww.
And I still have a lot, like several of those comics, and I made them on paper, and some of those things are like 65 pages.
Holy crap! So yeah, you went all out with those.
Oh, see, the thing is that I wasn't like, I was not good at like spacing panels and things like that. So there's just some pages where it's just big white void 4 squares.
Hey, hey, it still counts.
Yeah.
I mean, like, wait, you how old were you when you made those?
Well, the first ones I made 3 in 5th grade, and then around middle school I went back to doing it, and then I made like 6 more.
No, for that age, that's pretty impressive. I could not make anything anywhere near that long when I was in middle school. I was too impatient.
I was like, because I tried to commit to it for a bit, and it's funny because I mentioned the Flipperama thing. I put Flipperamas in those damn comics. I made my own Flipperamas, and I made a lot of characters. I made a shit ton of villains. I think I made like 20 different villain characters, and I didn't end up using, I think, like 6 of them. But, like, I just remember I would just come up with all these different character concepts, and then I would make a comic, and then one day, I think I made one comic that was like 80 pages. I used so much paper at my school, they got really pissed off at me.
Oh, come on, it's paper. They can afford that.
I think I literally took like a whole stack of like printing paper from like the school library or something and used up, I think, almost the entire stack to make it.
That is awesome.
I did. That's the only one I don't think I have anymore. I think I have like 60% of it. I think some of the pages are missing from what I remember.
So good though. I love it.
Also, I just blatantly ripped off some designs though with some of the villains.
Oh, dude, every kid does that.
One of them was just straight up Chaos from Sonic. I didn't change anything. I literally did not change anything.
Dude, the drawings and the tiny comics I used to make as a kid would literally just be about Sonic and SpongeBob and all that stuff. Like, I wasn't even trying to hide it.
Oh, the funny thing is that I would change the name. Like, I would change their name, but I would just... Again, it was literally just... Chaos was one of the main villains of my story, but I just changed his name. And the only unique thing that I gave him was... What's the thing Carnage can do? Weapon manipulation? Where, like, he can create weapons with his body. Something I forget.
Yeah, kind of like the T-1000 in Terminator 2, like how he's like made of goop, but he can make sharp objects.
Yeah, that's like the one thing I added to Chaos when I made this villain character was that he could like make a blaster with his arm, or he could like turn his arms into weapons. That's like the one thing I changed.
Did you ever do the thing where you would make original Sonic characters by just recoloring like official art?
I never did that.
I did that.
I never did that. I was a huge Sonic fan, but I never made Sonic OCs.
I didn't make a lot, but I used to have one that was just Shadow but brown. I had another one that I think was Sonic but red.
What were their names?
The brown Shadow's name I think was Knife, and I can't remember what the rest name was.
His name was Knife?
Yeah, I think I stole that name from a friend.
Like, spelled like knife. Like, it wasn't like a fantasy, like Kynfee. Like, it wasn't like some, like, fantasy spelling or something like that.
No, it was just Knife.
And you don't remember the name for the Red Sonic?
I don't remember the name.
Knuckles.
Sure. That's what most parents call him anyway.
What, Red Sonic?
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember my parents, because what was the first Sonic thing you played?
The first thing I ever played, I think, was a Flash game. It was like a Flash game based on Sonic Advance 2.
Was it Ultimate Sonic Flash or whatever it was called?
Yeah. The one that was ripping the sprites from Sonic Advance 2.
That is still an insanely impressive Flash game. Like, even now. Like, it looks like it could be official, and that shit was made in, like, 2006, I think?
Yeah. No, it was really, really good. I used to play it all the time. The first, I guess, actual Sonic game that I played was Sonic Heroes on the PC.
Okay, because I had, my parents got me this thing as a kid. I don't even know how we got it. I assume they just got it because they just thought it would be something I could play on the computer. It was called the Sega Smash Pack. and it was a 2-disc compilation of like 15 Sega Genesis games. And it was Sonic 2 was on there, and that was the first Sonic game I played. And I played that shit obsessively on the computer. It was Sonic 2. I'm trying to remember everything. It was Sonic 2, Altered Beast, Shining Force, Vector Man 1 and 2, Outlast, or not Outlast. What was it? There's like old racing game. I forget what it was called. Flicky. I'm trying to remember all of them. Kid Chameleon was, and Comic Zone. And I remember I used to play that all the time. And then my parents got me the Sonic Mega Collection when I was like 7.
I don't remember if I had the Sonic Mega Collection as a kid, but I had some type of collection on PC that had Sonic 1, 2, 3, Knuckles, and 3D Blast.
Was it official?
I don't know.
I was gonna say that I need to look this up now. You said it was a PC thing?
Yeah.
Sonic CD-ROM, and it was 1, 2, 3, 3D Blast, and Knuckles.
Yeah. Like
One,
it was only those.
3.
I don't remember if there was any other games. But I played those a lot. I know with all 3 of the classic Sonic games, I never got past the second zones for any of them.
Well, I found one thing called Sonic and Knuckles Collection CD-ROM 1999, but it only has 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles.
I swear 3D Blast was in... Oh, maybe I'm misremembering.
Because the ones you listed off were all Mega Collection games, too. So... And I guess, what do you remember was, like, your first big animation project?
My first big animation project was this Mega Man parody that I made back in 2014. I don't think I have it up on my YouTube channel anymore. I think I deleted it because it's terrible. But yeah, that was the first genuine cartoon that I made. It was 3 minutes long. It was just this dumb little parody where Mega Man is getting ready for action. He does the little beam up thing, but then he just lands on a bed of spikes and dies.
Oh, wait, it's 3 minutes?
Yeah. Something like 2 or 3 minutes.
I was gonna say, I'm curious, how'd you get 3 minutes out of that?
After he dies, there's like a scene where Wily is all like, "Oh my God, I did it! It worked!" And then he goes to Proto Man, being like, "Finally, we can take over." Wait, where did Proto Man go? And then Proto Man falls in the bed of spikes and dies too. And then there's
that's almost eerily similar to a really old Mega Man short on YouTube from like 2008. I think it was the guy who did those Mystery Skulls animations.
Oh, Mystery Ben?
Yeah, he had an old channel, and I discovered this back when I was like 13. He had this old channel where he did a bunch of old like animations, like video game themed animations, and he had a Mega Man animation where it's like Mega Man walking through the boss, and he goes in, and it's Spike Man, and it's just a room filled with spikes, and it instantly kills him, and then it cuts to Wily. And he's like, "Finally, I fucking did it." And then Bass was like, "Who would have thought you would have created a Spike Man years before you created a Spring Man?" And I was like, that is kind of eerily similar to that short.
I promise you, I have not seen
Oh,
that,
I'm not saying you ripped it off. I'm just saying, like, that is eerie how that's, like, almost the exact same idea. Like,
I mean, to be totally fair,
it's not a very original idea.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think it's that difficult to imagine some sort of joke involving the spikes in Mega Man because they kill him instantly.
Because I remember... Did you have access to Newgrounds as a kid?
Briefly, and then my parents caught me watching a animation involving something lewd with Peach and Bowser, and I was never allowed on the website again.
Was it intentional or was it unintentional that you watched it?
Unintentional.
Okay. Yeah, because I had access to Newgrounds when I was like 11 or 12. Like,
yeah, I just liked watching silly animations on there because I thought they were fun, and I had no idea what was going on.
Mom, Dad, look at this funny animation I found.
And then, yeah, my brother and mom saw me watching that, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, no more of this website." Restricted
internet access for the rest of your life after that shit. I I remember again, I was like 11 or 12, and your Mega Man thing actually made a thing pop in my head of, I remember, and you can still find it on YouTube. I remember the animator actually posted this. He posted there was an old animation of Tengu Man from Mega Man 8, and I remember it was just very weirdly dry animation, but I always really, really liked it. I can't remember what it was called, though. Mega Man and the Pompous Robots. That's what it was called. And it's just Tengu Man and Bass arguing over who's the better robot. And that's all it is. And it's a very, very weirdly charming animation. It's like 8 minutes long.
I need to look up what Tengu Man looks like again. Oh, yes.
Yeah, the big tank with the big pointy nose.
Yeah, and the spike hands.
Because I remember I dug through that site as a kid. I don't even know how well, okay, I guess I knew about Mega Man because I watched, like, the Battle Network show as a kid. But, like, I didn't really know anything about classic Mega Man, but I remember when I was on Newgrounds, when I was, like, 11 or 12, I was like, I'm going to look up Mega Man. And they had like this whole section dedicated to Mega Man fan projects. And it was like Flash games and animations. And I remember watching things like that. And same with Sonic. And I just remember there were certain things I would watch when I was a kid and I wouldn't get it. And I don't remember them being lewd. But I remember there were like things where I'm like, I don't get this. And then I went back to them like years later and I was like, oh yeah, I shouldn't have been watching this when I was fucking 11 years old. I was the innocent boy who, when he watched Futurama as a kid one time, the moment they said one swear word, he turned it off.
You know what? That happened with me with one of the much more lewd Newgrounds games. Like, do you know the Meat and Fuck series?
Oh my god! I was gonna say, is it one of those like? Was it one of those like Sonic dress up game things? Because I remember those too.
I played one of those for about 2 minutes, and the second I saw a girl taking her clothes off, I closed the browser immediately and never played it again.
Oh man, oh my god, I have not heard the term meat and fuck in probably like a decade for like one of those like Newgrounds animations. And it's like people now know a lot about Newgrounds, but it's like Newgrounds was genuinely like Wild West internet. Like like
literally anything went.
Yeah. No, like Newgrounds back in the day was you could find anything on Newgrounds. Like any possible thing you could think of was on Newgrounds. Like if it involved any video game or cartoon or anything.
It was kind of the best. It's why I loved going on there so much. I just liked seeing all the different fan animations of Sonic or Mario or anything else people would do. It's just, you know, when you're on there long enough, you'll inevitably find some
There's so much. There was
violence.
There was so much
stuff.
Oh my god, there was so much porn. There was not even art really, just animations people would make.
Yep.
There was porn. I remember, God, I remember how fucking violent some of the really old animations were. Things I definitely, again, should not have been watching at like 13, 14. I remember there was one, a couple days ago, me and some friends were like going down a rabbit hole of old stuff we used to watch on Newgrounds. And we were looking at old Sonic things, and I rediscovered like an old animation that I had buried in my brain for years, but I never remembered the name. And it was called like Sonic Halloween Party? Sonic Halloween Costume. That's what it was called. And it is such a late 2000s edgy Newgrounds animation.
Is that the one where he murders Tails
yes!
in order to get a Halloween costume?
Yes!
I remember that one. Yes!
Oh my god, he murders Tails, and I remember part 2 specifically. He murders Tails, and he goes to this Halloween party, and it's Knuckles is hosting it. Knuckles, and Shadow is British, because the guy who played him was British, and they just didn't have him change his voice. And I just remember it's like Tails is like a zombie and he controls other zombies, and then there's this big fight scene, and oh my god, oh my god, it's like that same era where I discovered Sonic shorts,
Oh yeah, I remember those.
And I still go back to those every so often.
Dude, same. Like there's some that are just burned into my brain.
Oh no, I remember me and a buddy like a year ago went through like all of them, and we kind of noticed a recurring trend where the second one, or like every second one, is usually the best one. Like
Yeah,
Sonic
like,
Shorts 2, 4, 6 were like the best ones.
yeah, I think I agree, honestly. Although my absolute favorite short in all of them is I think it's in number 8. It's this one where they're parodying like the scene from the Death Egg Zone in Sonic 3 where Eggman's running away, and he just keeps getting faster and faster.
Oh, is it the one where, how can a man that fat be that fucking fast?
Yeah, it's that. I remember that one specifically because whenever he cuts to Eggman,
Oh, is it the
running, he's just like
ho? I think the sound he makes.
it fucking kills me.
Oh, the one that always kills me, and it's not even that it's a particularly like really funny short. It's just this one line delivery in it that always makes me laugh. And it's another like Robotnik themed one where it's the one where he like is talking to like the Mantis robot from Sonic 2, and he can't, and he's trying to get into the I think it's like the chemical plant zone boss, like the one that drops the liquid on Sonic.
Yeah. And he's like, you can barely fit into that thing.
fit into that thing.
I just need some butter.
Give me the butter. The way every time I've ever seen that, I always just love the "Give me the butter" because the mic peaks so bad when he yells that line.
Oh my god, yeah, that's a good one.
So I'm trying to think of like another. I know that there's other ones that make me laugh. I think like one of the other ones was it like the one where Sonic eats all the eggs and then it cuts to him in like casts in the hospital?
Yeah. He's telling Shadow, "What are you gonna do? Break my arms?"
One for the fact that the voice work in that short is so funny to me because none of the guys even attempted to do voices for the characters.
It's kind of funnier that way sometimes.
I just love the Knuckles voice. Is just, you really shouldn't give him ideas.
Really should give him ideas. Something about the awkward pauses between every delivery is also really funny.
Because it's like, I remember I have a traumatic memory that's been like forever burned into my brain. When I was like 14, I messaged one of the guys from Sonic Shorts. I think the head guy, like the Wax. I messaged him on Newgrounds like ages ago, and I had this fucking idea for a Sonic short, and I will always remember he got back to me saying, "Hey, yeah, sorry, we already have ideas for the next one."
Aww.
Oh no, it was a terrible, terrible fucking idea. I was again 14, and I didn't know what the fuck was funny. I didn't know anything about what was actually funny at the time. And I just remember I messaged him this stupid fucking idea of like the Sonic villains all having like an argument at a table, like at like a cafeteria or something. And every time I think about it, I just think about how like, God, how naively stupid was I to like think that like I just came to this guy with like a 3-sentence pitch for a short. Like he would do anything. He wasn't the main animator for those things.
Like he was an animator, but not.
He was more the organizer than he was like the main animator for those usually.
Yeah, I mean that every short would kind of be done by a different person.
What's like I always wondered like the process for making those, because I remember that period. I think like the first 3 came out within like a year, or two. They all came out very fast.
From what I remember, I think from 1 to 3, those were all made for just the first one, but they got so many that they just decided to split it up. That's actually what's happening right now with the newer ones.
Oh, yeah. That would explain why the newer ones are so long.
Yeah, I actually was going to be in number 9.
Really?
I pitched a short and they really liked it, and I just didn't get around to finishing it because I had other stuff getting in the way. But I'm actually trying to get it done now, so who knows? Maybe I'll be in the next one. We'll see.
I forget. Are they on? Are they on 11? They're on 11.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they're on 11. So I'll try to get mine in 11.
What's the basic idea? I assume there's not NDA for Sonic shorts.
There isn't. I don't want to spoil it yet, just because I want people to see it. All I'll say is that it's about Eggman.
Oh, okay. Wait, are you doing the voices, or is it like an audio? Like, is it stock audio?
I'm getting my friend to voice Eggman.
Okay.
Just because he can scream really well. So I'm like, okay, you got to play him.
Let's say I remember, like, me and my friend Chris, we had a period like a couple years ago where we were going through like all of the Sonic Archie comics post Pender's leaving. So
the good ones.
Yes, the good ones, when Ian Flynn was the head writer. So we went through all the Archie comics after Pender's left, and we would just like read them like out loud. And my Robotnik has always consistently just been an impression of that guy from Sonic Shorts. Of that, get me the butter. That is consistently always been my Eggman voice, because I just love that voice so much for Eggman.
It's a really funny voice. Like, I love just how kind of out of it he sounds. We're just like, and I'll finish that hedgehog once and for all.
You barely fit into that thing. Shut up. All I need is the butter.
Stand still. I can't hit you while you're jumping around like that.
And the fucking scream. I told you that was a stupid idea.
I kind of have a similar thing where I don't know why, but every time I do an Eggman impression, I always go for Dean Bristow.
I can't believe this. Like that.
I just love how much he enunciates things. It's so hammy and so funny.
I think it's like the first time you hear him speak in a adventure. I always, the way he says Robotnik, he puts so much emphasis on the B in Robotnik. It's Dr. Robotnik. Like,
you won't get away with this.
The greatest scientist.
Yeah, it almost feels like almost Shakespearean in how he's trying to deliver it. Like, he's trying to make every line sound so important, and that's why I love it so much. Even for silly lines like how did you know the emerald was a fake? Because you just told me, fox boy. I love that voice so much.
Fuck boy. That's what you told me.
Oh, every time I hear him, he's so good. Get a load of this.
Well, I remember when Riders came out. I had only played Adventure. Adventure was like I've never known if Adventure or Super Mario 64 was the first game I ever played. I just know that I played them both around the same time. I was like 3 years old, and I know I played both of those games around the same time. So I had no memory of what Dean Bristow sounded like because I was 3. And I remember when I played Sonic Riders, and when I unlocked Eggman and I played with him the first time, I heard him speak, and I'm like, that's not the guy. That's a different guy.
Yeah, because they mix Mike Pollock and Dean Bristow's voices in that game. It's so weird. Like, sometimes it'll be a Dean Bristow clip, sometimes it'll be a Mike Pollock clip.
Well, in all the cutscenes, it's Pollock. In the gameplay, it's Bristow.
Mostly, but there are some Mike Pollock lines in gameplay, too. It's so weird.
Well, because I learned, apparently the reason they did that was because of Dean Bristow's passing.
Oh, they wanted to honor him?
Yeah, because he had died the year before the game came out.
I guess, yeah, I give him one last hurrah.
Yeah, I guess it would, like, I don't know if I've ever really seen 100% confirmation on that, but that's everything I've ever read about why they did that, it was like a tribute to him, basically.
I guess fair. It is nice to give him one last little tribute. It's just so weird in the middle of gameplay where you'll do an attack and you'll hear Mike Pollock be all like, "Eat my dust, rodent," and then you'll suddenly hear, "Yeah, do you think you can beat me?"
Well, I remember there was like one where when he would jump, he would do the yo, like he would do the Dean Bristow like little like grunt sound every time he would jump.
Oh man, if only the game had the yosh in it.
It's the sound he makes when he gets first place. Yosh. Well, I remember when I had interviewed like John St. John, I remember he had said he had talked about how like the reason that a lot of the line deliveries in those games were so weird is that like the Japanese directors wanted it to be like phonetic. So they basically wanted them to like perfectly mimic the sounds that the Japanese actors would make, even if it didn't really make sense in the dub to have the actors make those sounds.
Yeah, it's like what makes sense in Japanese doesn't always make sense in English. Dude, even the yosh doesn't really make sense.
No.
Well, even in Japanese, typically with that word, you say that with excitement, like yosh or something like that. Like it's the equivalent of an English going like yes. Like, it's so weird.
Oh, I remember. Did you see the thing? Because I think the guy who played Knuckles in Heroes was at like a con last year.
I saw they confirmed that like when he does like the shit like he's actually swearing.
Yeah, for some reason that was like the one time the Japanese director wanted them to like, hey, can you make the T sound as quiet as possible?
Yeah, just, we want to mess with people and make it sound like he's swearing.
That seems so weirdly targeted. Like that sounds like something you would do in like a modern game, not something you would have done in 2003.
Yeah, it feels like the voice director was just in a cheeky mood that day and just never really regretted it.
Well, it's like I remember when I interviewed John St. John, I had talked to him about the big voice, and I had told him like, oh, I had always heard that there was this rumor that you like really hated that character, and he was like, no, I don't hate the character, I hate the voice that I came up with.
I kind of get it. It's like the most basic voice you could probably think of for that character.
Oh, well, the reason he hated it is that because he didn't do it as he did it as like a joke take. It wasn't meant to be the actual take.
And that's the one that they liked.
Yes. No, because he said we had the Japanese directors there with us, with the main voice director, and he said like, oh, they explained it to me as this big dumb like purple cat, and so he was like, all right, I'll do this voice, and he was like, and the Japanese directors like stopped me, and they were like, yes, that is what we want, and he was like, I can do like an actual take now. Like, I can do a real voice, and he was like, no, that's the voice we want. And so he's always hated that, like, that's the voice that forever stuck with that character, because he hated that it was a joke take. Like, it wasn't him actually trying.
Yeah, I totally feel that. He didn't even get a chance to actually think of something.
Well, I guess, like, getting back on track with the conversation is, I guess, because you've done... You do animation and cleanup, correct?
Yeah, depending on the job.
Yeah,
like,
and oh no, you
typically I work as a rough animator, but for my current job, I work as an animator for the Odd Ones Out. I both animate and clean up my shots.
Well, and I guess for those that don't know, what is the major difference between the two things, between cleanup and animation itself?
Yeah, no problem. So. Typically, with how animation works, is that the first thing that's done is the storyboard, which is a rough blueprint outline of the whole cartoon. It's a bunch of sketches that are put together to basically show a visual of what they have in mind, what they want the final thing to look like, and then the storyboards are given to the animators to just use that as a basis and make the animation. So. The rough animation is basically you're sketching everything out, you're doing it rough, the same way you would sketch a drawing. And cleanup is the equivalent of inking a drawing, where you do the final touches, you do the final line work, coloring, shading, all that stuff. So in a lot of productions, the rough animation and cleanup animation are done by different people, typically just to make things more efficient, because animation takes a super long time. And it's better to have rough animators just constantly working on more animation rather than have them stop, do cleanup, then do another shot, because things would just take much longer.
Well, and I guess what's an in-betweener? Is that the same thing as cleanup, or is that a different thing?
That's a different thing.
Okay,
so,
I always thought in-betweener was like the same thing.
It can be. It's this thing. It varies a lot with productions. So going back to rough animation. Typically, the steps you do when you animate is you do the key poses, which are all the main poses for the animation, and then you do the in-betweens, which is just, giving it actual movement. Sometimes with productions, they'll have one person do the key poses and then another person do the in-betweens, again, to just keep sort of the momentum going. I've never been on a project that's been like that. Actually, no, I take that back. On Farfetch'd, we've done that a few times with some animators who are able to do keys, but then don't have time to do in-betweens. But typically, most of the time, I do all the animation myself, and then either someone else does cleanup, or depending on the job, I do the cleanup.
And I guess how is it working on a show with more complicated character designs compared to more simplistic? Because you've done you've worked with the Odd Ones Out, and it's very, very simplified shapes with the Odd Ones Out normally, comparative to something like Helluva Boss, where the characters are much more visually complex in comparison.
The main difference is it just takes longer. The more details you give a character, the longer it's going to take to draw it all out. I typically don't really like doing cleanup animation because it can be very tedious and it can take a very long time. I don't really mind doing it for James because the style is so simple. Also, I get paid on an hourly rate, so I'm actually getting extra for that, so that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, with something like Helluva Boss or TMNT or other projects, yeah, it can take a lot longer just because there's a lot of details, and sometimes it's not even just the cleanup that can take a while. The coloring can take a while too if the characters have shading or gradients or stuff like that, because that's essentially you're kind of doing 2 layers of cleanup. You're doing the line work, and then you're doing the lines for all the shading. So all that stuff can really add up. That was kind of why I never did cleanup on Hazbin or Helluva Boss. It just, for me, it was too much.
I cannot imagine doing cleanup on Hazbin.
I have nothing but respect for the artists who did cleanup on both of those shows. They are absolute troopers, and they do an amazing job.
I look at designs like that, and I just go, that just looks like a fucking nightmare. Having to clean up a character with that many lines and weird angles to how the character's drawn and little details on the face or on the body. Especially Helluva
great
Boss.
when it's finished. It looks great when it's finished, but oh boy, it's a lot of work.
Well, especially Helluva Boss, because there's characters with stripes on their body. And I've always heard from every animator I've ever talked to that stripes are one of the worst things to have to animate.
They are, because they're so repetitive, so tedious, and if they look off, the wobble is really noticeable.
Well, I guess thing I was curious about was did you ever see those things as a kid? Did you ever watch a lot of behind the scenes stuff as a kid? That was something I always, because I watched behind the scenes stuff for animated movies all the time as a kid.
Oh yeah, that actually was what first kind of taught me about how animation was done and what first kind of sparked my interest. I used to watch a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff for SpongeBob DVDs.
Wait, was it SpongeBob movie?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. I used to watch the behind-the-scenes of that movie all the time.
Yeah, it was those behind-the-scenes featurettes, and it was also this one book called SpongeBob Exposed, where they had a whole section dedicated to showing how an episode was made.
I'm honestly shocked that I didn't go into animation with how much, of that kind of stuff I watched as a kid.
I mean, you did indirectly. You voice act. That's still part of it.
Oh, I know. But I mean, actually, drawing. Because I used to draw a lot as a kid, but I never really had any interest in, full-on animating as a kid, which is weird because I used to watch those after I remember the old Disney VHSs would sometimes have stay tuned for after the feature for a behind the scenes look at the making of blankety blank. They would have that kind of thing, or it'd be a 5-minute production reel of storyboards or things like that. I missed back in the day when Disney would do trailers with unfinished animation.
Dude, I love those. Have you ever seen the original trailer for Cars?
Oh, the one where they use the pitch reel in the trailer,
yeah,
where all the cars look like they came out of VeggieTales. They look really weird.
Cute. I love that trailer. It's so charming.
It's the one with the bees, right? Like where
yeah.
Kill the baby bumblebee.
Yeah, it begins with a little skit with Mater and Lightning, and then it has the super rough animation of the racing scene.
And their eyes are like really, they look much more round and compressed. They look much more like chibi in the pitch reel. Like
they did. Yeah, I remember there was that. There was a trailer for Meet the Robinsons, which had a lot of unfinished animation. I think there was a Hercules trailer that had that. It was really charming.
How many Disney VHSs did you have as a kid?
I can't remember. We switched to DVD when I was pretty young as a kid, so I can't really remember how many VHSs I had.
Oh, because we had tons of Disney VHSs, and I remember there was one for Mulan. That's always the one for Mulan is always the one that's been stuck in my head because it's like 80% unfinished animation in the trailer. Yeah. It's all I don't know what you call it. It's all like the sketchy, like flat animation. Like a lot of it is just not colored or inked or anything.
Yeah, that's the rough animation.
Yeah, so the rough animation. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's typically the stuff that I do.
My favorite is sometimes they would have temp audio, so they wouldn't even have like the finished voiceover work in some of the clips.
My God. That's cute.
Well, one of them, it's in the Mulan trailer, and I've always remembered it. It's like this one, I don't know how they did it, or if it was like a stock recording, or they had like another animator do it, and they like pitched his voice down like super deep. But in Mulan, after the avalanche that like kills like 99% of the Huns, and it's that shot of Shan Yu coming out of the snow, and he like just screams, and like that's when they like hear him like echoing in the mountains or whatever. In the trailer, it's like obviously temp audio because it's super pitched. It's like the voice is like it's like a roar basically. And I've always wondered if that was like a stock sound that they had, or they just had like some guy do temp audio and they just like pitched his voice down really deep. I need to find that now that I think about it. And I remember there was one for Hercules. That was another one where I distinctly remember they had like rough animation for it.
Yeah, that trailer I remember seeing. I don't think I ever saw the Mulan one, but yeah, I do kind of miss that era. I think I know why they don't do it anymore, just because it's kind of become a thing where whenever a trailer has unfinished shots in it, it gets kind of ridiculed, especially if it's unfinished CG.
See, to me, with CG, I can understand that, because when unfinished CG is unfinished, it can look kind of jank. Like, yeah, I can understand that. But like, I don't know, with 2D animation, I just think it kind of makes it more charming.
No, I agree. It really invites you into the world and shows you how they put these things together. It reminds you that these things are handmade, and I think it's very charming and inspiring to see.
Well, I remember with the Hercules one in particular, even with Aladdin, I remember they had one. I remember they had one where they actually would like show the animators like behind the scenes, like in the trailer. They like showed them like flipping the pages back and forth, and they showed like the rough models that they would use for reference for the characters, like the maquettes. And I remember like they did like tons of those back in the day, where they would like show the whole process of how they made the movie on top of the actual like footage of the film.
Yeah, and I love that stuff. I love seeing animators get a shout out. I love being shown how it's all being put together. It in a way kind of makes you more excited to see the movie, because you're seeing how much work and effort is being put into this. It makes the movie feel big, you know?
Right, yeah. Well, and I guess because we were talking about this, I guess because you did it was Tales from the TMNT. I think that was the name of the show, right?
Yeah.
I was trying to
By the way, I enjoyed working on that show, but oh my god, I wish they picked a better title, because there are so many. Because there's like 4 things called that. Like, yeah, so whenever you look it up, you'll find every other thing, because there were comics that were called.
Oh yeah, the original. I think the original Archie comics were called Tales from the Teenage Mutant Ninja, or Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like something like that. There
was that. The 5th season of the 2012 show is called Tales of the TMNT. Like, there's so many things called that.
Yeah. Well, I guess what was the process like working on that? Because that's a big Nickelodeon, like, well, not even big Nickelodeon, big franchise series, but like especially following a big film that had come out the year before.
So the process was actually pretty similar to working on projects like Hazbin or Helluva, in the sense where I was just handed, where we were working on an episode, we were given a certain deadline and handed a bunch of shots. Like, I was given, say, 10 to 12 shots per episode, each with the storyboards, and I just had to animate all of them before the deadline. And yeah, so typically, uh, as I would work on them, every other day we would have check-ins where we could send our work to our animation supervisor, and he would give notes, feedback, just like, stuff that we have to fix or redo, like just so we can do it before we finish anything, which was very helpful. So as we go, we're just slightly tweaking it, fixing it, blah blah blah. But yeah, that's basically how it worked. Is they would give me storyboarded shots, and I'd animate them.
Well, I guess what was it like getting to work on a fucking Ninja Turtles thing?
Well, it was very daunting. I mean, I grew up as a huge Ninja Turtles fan. I watched the 2003 show a lot as a kid. I used to read the comics a bunch. I always wanted to work on a TMNT project, so it was very intimidating. And it was definitely challenging because, so the style of Mutant Mayhem, I think it works really, really well in 3D, and it looks great in 2D, but in 2D, I'd actually think it's a little bit harder to animate because the characters are so asymmetrical and wonky. If you draw something off, it's really noticeable.
Well, it's not, because I think of like 2012, where they all have very rounded shapes to the 2012 designs. Because I was thinking about that, because each turtle from like each different show has like very, very distinctive styles to them. Because
which is
2012 is like the more 2012 is like the more rounded. I always say that's like the coconut heads, like Ninja Turtles, where they have very round heads. 2003, it's very anime style. 80s is just cartoon. It like very soft line work, which was most 80s cartoons back then.
Yeah.
And then there's Rise, which I don't know, the most angular of the styles, I guess.
Yeah, very Samurai Jack, 2000s Cartoon Network-ish.
Because I'd say Tails is kind of like a mix of, I'd say Rise and maybe the 80s cartoon. That's probably like the closest comparison.
I remember, our supervisors were saying that graffiti art was a big inspiration.
Oh, I can definitely see that.
Yeah. The very stark line work and kind of wonky shapes, the sort of imperfect look. It looks really fun, but yeah, it definitely was a little bit tricky to get right, just because I remember with almost every shot I worked on, like the first note I would always get is just the proportions are a little bit off, or the anatomy, the shape of the face is a little off, just because you think that because it's wonky you can kind of go all out with it, but it's a very planned kind of wonky.
Controlled chaos.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. So it definitely took a little while to get right. Especially, the turtles I don't think were too bad, which I was the most scared of drawing because I've never been good at drawing them. A lot of the secondary characters were a lot harder. Like,
really?
Yeah, like one dude I had to animate, Hun. He was, I think, the toughest dude to animate for me. Because he has like this, he's a bigger dude, but he has both fat and muscle on him, and it was really difficult for me to figure out which parts of him were meant to be fat and which parts were meant to be muscular.
Did you animate like a decent chunk of the cast, or did you only animate like a handful of characters?
Only a handful. I don't think I got to draw every turtle, but only for a couple of scenes. The turtles I animated the most were Raph and Leo. I never got to animate Splinter. I animated April a bit. She was the easiest one for me. And then I animated a few of the Purple Dragon characters. And I think that was it. Oh, I also animated a few of those. I animated Scumbug. I animated a few of those new fish mutant characters.
Oh, the Danny Trejo seahorse.
Yeah, like I animated those guys. And I think that was about everything I did. I only worked on the first half of the season, so anything that was in the second half, I didn't work on.
Was the show like predominantly a Canadian animation team?
It was entirely animated in Titmouse, Vancouver, as far as I
Oh,
know.
okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know if it was like a multi-team project like some other Nickelodeon shows are.
It like I might be wrong, but from what I remember, yeah, we kind of did all of it. It was we were so the season was pretty short overall. We were split into two teams, and like each team would tackle every other episode. So like one team would be doing episode 1 while the other team simultaneously is doing episode 2, and so on and so forth.
Well, and I guess has there ever been like a project or like a series you've wanted to work on?
Sonic,
Oh
definitely.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say I assumed Sonic.
Yeah, just getting to animate or illustrate for Sonic professionally in any capacity would be the dream.
Sonic is such a weird thing when it comes to TV. Like a lot, like, and I primarily because a lot of Sonic stuff lately has been like CG. I've wondered for a long time if they would ever attempt to do like a 2D thing again
Please.
with Sonic.
Please do a 2D animated Sonic show and let me work on it, please. Sonic is one of those characters that I think just looks really, really good when he's hand-drawn, and he's honestly very easy to animate in 2D.
Also, I think most people have learned how to draw Sonic over like years and years and years of just drawing Sonic over and over.
Oh, trust me.
I'm not even that much of an artist, and I know how to draw the Sonic X era Sonic. Like,
Yeah, him and like all the main cast are just very easy to draw. Like they're made to be very simple and very easy to push. And I feel like that's a lot easier to do when you're drawing him compared to when you're doing him in 3D.
well, I've always said like the Sonic eyes are probably like the easiest eyes to draw.
Oh, they're super easy.
Yeah, because you don't have to worry about like it, like the eyes being like one circle bigger than the other, or like the eyes being a specific shape. Like no, every character has these two specific kind of eyes, and they're like the easiest kind of eyes to draw because they're just one big eye.
Exactly.
They're either one big eye or they're two eyes that are like right next to each other.
Exactly. I know everyone's made jokes about Sonic with the mono eye, but the genuine reason he's drawn that way is just because it's really easy. And it's what a lot of classic Rubber Hose cartoons did for the characters, because it's just very quick and easy to do.
I'm trying to think, because I'm trying to think like Fleischer era, because a lot of Fleischer characters I remember had like little dot eyes.
Yeah, like Sonic's design was based on.
Wait, Woody
Mickey and
Woodpecker.
Felix.
Did Woody Woodpecker have like the one eye? Did he have the mono eye?
Let me look it up.
I need to
don't
look it
think
up.
he
For
did.
some reason in my head, I'm getting Woody Woodpecker had a mono eye. He did not, but his eyes were very, very like his eyes were like right next to each other.
Yeah. I remember seeing an old style guide for Sonic where they literally said, just imagine Sonic has two eyes, but just the line in the middle isn't there.
I was gonna say, because looking at Woody Woodpecker, it's almost a mono eye because the eyes are literally like right, like touching each other basically with Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at designs like classic Mickey or Felix, they essentially have that.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Because I was thinking like Popeye, Betty Boop, and I was like, I don't remember them having that. I wasn't thinking like the generic like Fleischer cartoons where like everybody was trying to mimic the Mickey Mouse style.
Yeah, like those very simplistic animal characters. Like that was like the main thing that inspired Sonic's design.
I love that era when you like look at how every studio was basically trying to rip off Mickey Mouse.
Oh,
back
it's
then.
hilarious.
Oh, my favorite is the Warner Brothers one because it is
Foxy?
Foxy is so fucking shameless that I think they got sued for that one. Which, yeah, if you see what Foxy looks like, it is just Mickey Mouse with a bushy tail and ears with points. That's all it is. Like,
and that aside, it's just exactly the same.
it is
design.
exactly Mickey Mouse. Like, they did nothing to change it.
And yeah, he had a girlfriend who literally, again, was just Minnie, but with the same thing, bushier tail and slightly pointy ears.
Yeah, that's it. And it's literally, and here's the thing that's so funny to me is that it's not like the typical how you would draw a fox where like the ears are like triangles. They literally drew the rounded Mickey Mouse ears and just put points on top of them. Like, it is like 95% circle still, like just like Mickey Mouse.
One of my favorite things like of that era was So Fleischer had original characters that stood on their own, but sometimes they would just literally put Mickey Mouse in their cartoons and have him be a little shit, just as a direct dig at Disney. And
Oh,
like,
I found a Betty Boop one.
yeah.
That is just Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
He just doesn't have the pants. It's literally just Mickey. He has the gloves, the shoes, everything. It is exactly Mickey Mouse.
Like, he would show up for just, like, a blink and you miss it scene, and he would just be a little gremlin.
And I found that this picture. That is just Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it's just him. My favorite is in the cartoon Bimbo's Initiation. It begins with him just strolling down the street, but then he falls down a sewer, and Mickey just closes the manhole and locks it and then runs away. And then you never see him again.
Like, did they show him? Like, do they show the whole, like, face or something, or do they just not show it?
No, they show it. You just see Mickey.
Oh my god, yeah, I just found a picture of it. Yeah, again, same thing. He just doesn't have the pants. That's it. Like, that's the only thing they didn't change. He still has the shoes, the gloves, everything.
Yeah, I love that era where Disney was still a relatively small company and other studios would just throw disses at them like that.
Well, Warner Brothers is funny to me because it wasn't even just Foxy. I think they did like 3 or 4 other characters that were literally just Mickey Mouse. They just changed what animal he was. There was like a pig. I'm trying to find it. There was like a pig character.
Was that before they made Porky?
Oh, yeah. It was before Porky existed. What? I hate that I can't look up Warner Brothers Pig without it being Porky. Was it like black and white pig character? Oh, here's Piggy. His name was
just Piggy.
Piggy. No, but you want to see Shameless. Foxy at least didn't have the buttons. Look at that.
Oh my god. Yeah, well, it's just Mickey but a pig.
It's Mickey but pig. Hence Piggy.
Oh, that's so funny.
There's no way. Okay, so I guess there was an old short called Hitting the Trail to Hallelujah Land, which I think is one of the band shorts. And this is a shot from it.
Oh, wow, that looks familiar.
That feels intentional. That feels intentional to me.
I guess for those who can't see in the recording, he's literally just doing the Steamboat Willie pose with the wheel and everything.
Yeah, it's just like Steamboat Willie, but just the pig character.
You know what? They should bring him back today because now they can legally do that.
Well, I remember in Tiny Toons they brought Foxy back in Tiny Toons. They did Foxy and Roxy, but they leaned into I think they leaned more into the Mickey parody with it. I don't think they're doing a straight Mickey Mouse impression, but I really, really like how they stylized them in Tiny Toons. Like, if you look at it, like, I found an image of it.
Oh wow, yeah, they look really cute. Like they're still very clearly Mickey ripoffs, but
you can tell they're foxes a lot more. Is the other thing.
They gave them actual pointed tails, longer snouts.
They gave them like the little like arched like fuzz on the side of their heads, like how people normally draw foxes.
Yeah, no, these designs are cute.
You know, I guess has there ever I guess an animated project other than Sonic, has there ever been like another big thing you'd want to work on?
I mean, I guess it is fitting with what we were just talking about. I would love to animate something with Looney Tunes.
Oh my god. That Looney Tunes is like a dream for me, getting to do something with Looney Tunes.
Yeah, dude, those cartoons mean so much to me. I used to watch those with my brother all the time as a kid. I still watch, they're still funny to me to this day. And this is a true story. In kindergarten, like when we graduated and they asked everyone what they wanted to be when they grew up, I said Daffy Duck. Oh man, I love these characters so much, and especially with The Day the Earth Blew Up that just came out, like it's kind of like reinvigorated my love for these guys.
By the way, go see that movie.
Yeah,
please, people who are seeing this please go see that movie.
Like, assuming it's still in theaters by the time this comes out, yeah, please go see it. It's so good.
From what I looked into, apparently it with how Ketchup Entertainment does distribution, I think this is like their first widely distributed film. From what I read, apparently they only a lot of the theater screenings they only have the rights for 2 to 3 weeks for screenings.
So yeah, go see it, please.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be in theaters very long. And I don't trust Warner Brothers, but they did say that apparently if the movie does pretty decently, they're going to reconsider the Coyote versus Acme shit. So
yeah, so. Please, if you like just cartoons and just want to see something fun for an hour and a half, like just go watch it. It is beautifully animated. It's a lot of fun. It's the first Looney Tunes movie that actually feels like a Looney Tunes movie.
Oh yeah, I remember. Didn't you tell me you were almost on Space Jam 2 at one point?
I was.
Yeah,
I did almost work on Space
I remember
Jam 2.
you had said something about that a while back when we talked, that you had you were almost on Space Jam 2.
Yeah, I got emailed by one of the animation studios working on the movie asking if I wanted to work on it, and I said yes, and I even did a job interview, but they passed on me afterwards.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, don't know what happened, but oh well, is what it is.
Did they say what it was going to be, or did they just say they wanted you on the project?
They wanted me to do just some rough animation.
Okay. I mean, given how the 2D looks in that movie, I feel like that would have been a nightmare with how good the 2D is in that movie.
Hey, dude, I would have been up to the challenge.
Ooh.
Just no. I don't know what the future is for the Looney Tunes characters because I know Warner Brothers doesn't really seem interested in doing anything with them, but if the opportunity ever comes, I would love to animate those characters.
It's what I said like a day or two ago, because coincidentally, they took all the Warner Brothers shorts off of Max.
Which is like, why the hell would you do that?
Which, like I said yesterday, that's the equivalent of Disney literally ripping all of the classic Mickey, Donald, and Goofy shorts off of Disney+.
Right?
Why would you do that? Like,
it's not like you have to pay a fee to use it. You own
You
it.
literally own the damn thing! Like, and I guess there was a reason.
Especially after the movie just came out and is, getting a decent word of mouth, it would have been some free money if people went back and watched those shorts.
Yeah, I mean, here's the Looney Tunes is still on there. It's just none of the classic shorts. Now it's the TV shows and some of the movies. That's it. I'm like,
so weird.
I find it weird that Duck Dodgers still isn't on there.
Duck Dodgers isn't on there?
No.
Why?
I don't know. The same reason there's a few Disney shows that still aren't on Disney+. Like,
yeah, that's right. That's right. They don't have like the Buzz Lightyear show. Right?
Buzz Lightyear's not on there.
What the hell? That show's so good.
Well, from what I learned, I watched an interview with Tad Stones, the producer. I guess Pixar really doesn't like that show. I guess that's the primary reason, from what he said.
No offense, but I don't think they did much better with their version.
Well, from what he said, and I haven't watched it in a bit, but I remember from what Tad Stones had said, I guess Pixar didn't like it because they didn't really have a lot of creative input in the show. It was like a solely Disney studio show. So that's like the primary reason Pixar doesn't really care for it, because none of the people involved in Toy Story had like any say in the show.
How bizarre.
Which I'm like, I guess that's kind of fair to like be a little upset about the show that like you basically had no say in how the production of a show on your property went. I guess that's a teeny bit fair to be upset at the show. But at the same time, bro, the show's like 25 years old. Like,
yeah, I don't think it's really damaging anything if you just put it on there.
well, also, I a while back had like thought back on Lightyear, and I don't know why, it just popped in my head, and every time I think about that movie, I just think like, how did you botch that so bad? Like, how? And I don't even think that's the worst Pixar movie. There's a couple other movies I would still never watch again in comparison. I still would never watch Lightyear, but there's other movies I'd say I like less. But Lightyear to me is probably like the most disappointing Pixar movie, because there's so much you can do with that idea, and they did nothing with that idea.
the biggest thing that disappointed me was Zurg, because that was one of those things where I just thought you literally had a perfect villain. You didn't have to change a goddamn thing, and you did, and you made it worse.
Well, not even made it worse. You made it where it doesn't make fucking sense. Like, it really doesn't. In the context of how the universe of Buzz Lightyear has been explained in the movies, the twist doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't. Like, I'm sorry, what was wrong with just making a cheesy Darth Vader?
Well, I also think about the whole marketing campaign of, this is the movie Andy saw that made him want, but no, it's not.
No, it's
what?
Dude, if I saw that as a kid, I'd be bored.
Well, that's what anytime I've said that, and I there are apparently kids that liked it from what I've seen, but like from reviews I read, there were people talking about how there were kids having a good time in the theater, but anytime I look at that movie, I'm like, what is there for a kid to like in this movie other than the cat? Like, it is such... the best way I saw someone describe it is like, it's like Interstellar for children, but what is a kid gonna get out of Interstellar for children is the thing.
And yeah, and the thing is, I never saw the original Buzz Lightyear as being Interstellar for kids. I saw it as being more like
I
Flash
saw
Gordon.
Fucking Han Solo type shit. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of shit I saw with him. Like
a cheesy superhero space opera. That I can absolutely see being popular with kids. 100%. Buzz Lightyear is popular with kids.
Well, that's what the thing I found so funny is I said, like, ironically, I think more kids could easily get into the Toy Story movies than they could get into the Lightyear movie. Like, it's like, God, how do you make a sci-fi movie with a guy on a desert planet? There's no fucking aliens. The robots don't show up till halfway through. The robots are boring. There's nothing interesting. How do you take that concept and make it so boring?
Yeah. And like you said, it really contradicts what was established in the movie. In the Toy Story movie, Star Command was heavily implied to be like this galactic order of planets, kind of like the Federation in Star Trek or something.
Yeah,
like
or hell, the Jedi Council in Star Wars, like that kind of shit. Like,
yeah. And it's not at all like how it's portrayed in the actual movie, which just makes it so confusing.
They make it out to be more like the military from Halo. Like that kind of shit. But hell, even the military from Halo, they at least fight aliens and fly spaceships and shit. Like,
yeah. Where's the lasers? Where's the crazy aliens? Where's any of this stuff?
Well, and again, it's the same thing where I'm like, when I look at Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, that's what I think of when I think of Buzz Lightyear. Like, that is the type of shit I think of. Aliens, spaceship, wacky sci-fi shenanigans, fighting evil robots and other things. Like, that's the type of shit I would have wanted, and probably would have been a better movie.
Look, no disrespect to the Pixar people whatsoever, but I will always stand by this. Wayne Knight is the best Zurg.
Oh my god. Oh, I want to know what the process for casting him in that was like, because I almost wonder if Toy Story 2 had a tie to that, because he also plays Owl in that movie.
I feel like it has to be. I know he didn't voice Zurg in the movie. That I think was Andrew Stanton.
It was Andrew Stanton, yeah.
Yeah, but he's just so good and so natural in the role. I can't imagine anyone else.
No, it's oh my god. Wayne Knight is like a dream person to get on this podcast. Like I've tried. I can't find any contact for him. I've tried.
If you ever do, please let me know.
Oh my god, I've wanted to interview him for so like he's one of those people I've like is like a dream guest for me, because I would love to talk to him because he's done so much shit from when I was a kid.
God, yeah. Speaking of, he's in The Day the Earth Blew Up. So
oh yeah, I
like
forgot.
Knight,
He's the Franklin Roosevelt looking mayor.
Yeah, he is. I totally didn't expect him to be there, but I'm really happy he was.
I was like, oh god, it's like, God, I'm trying to think of like everything he did like when I was a kid, because I was like, he was Tantor in Tarzan, he was Al in Toy Story 2, he was Zurg in the Buzz Lightyear cartoon, I remember my favorite thing he probably ever did was Jack in Billy and Mandy.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. I love him as Mr. Blick in Cat Scratch.
Oh my god, God, that's a show I wish would get like some kind of re-release of some kind because it's not even on Paramount Plus.
That show is hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's just, I feel like the reason that it's probably not ever gotten re-released is possibly because of the creator.
Which I get. That's 100% fair. He's not the only person that worked on it, though. You know?
Oh, I know. Because I think it's my whole thing. Whenever I've heard people make the argument, and like supposedly there was some kind of insider at Nickelodeon that said it was distancing from Doug TenNapel. But I'm like, you still have Ren and Stimpy on there.
Yeah, yeah, I was about to say, and I feel like, most people have kind of severed Ren and Stimpy from its creator and just thought about the other artists who worked on it, which is totally fair. There's a lot of genuinely great, talented people who worked on that show.
Oh god, Shaolin Showdown. I forgot about that one too. He was, he was the dragon, Dojo.
Yeah. Oh, I love that show as a kid.
Well, and Space Jam. That was...
Oh, of course.
That was the other thing where I was like, oh yeah, Space Jam. That was the other thing I remember as a kid.
Just remembering the image of him flat.
Oh god. Oh, the CG is so bad.
Yeah, when he's flat and then getting pumped up and
that's a movie where that's one of those movies where I think about like, this fucked up somebody. This probably fucked up a few people. There's a few things in Space Jam I think about where I just like, this probably fucked up a few people. Like,
Lola Bunny. That's all I'll say.
Oh, how do you feel about Lola Bunny? I've always been I always am fascinating when I hear the opinion on Lola Bunny, and I don't mean in terms of like, do you think she's hot? I'm like, no, I mean like in terms of as a character. How do you feel about Lola Bunny?
I don't mind her as an addition to like the Looney Tunes, like adding a girl bunny character. Why not? But I do think she's the most fun when they make her actually goofy. Like the one I always think of is like Kristen Wiig in the.
Oh, she's perfect. She's perfect in that role.
Yeah, like that's I think my favorite version of the character, where she's like this where she's like both a stalker but is also super ditzy and just constantly causing chaos.
Oh, one of my favorite episodes of that whole show is when she gets a crush on Daffy and like starts or is it It's Daffy. She like helps him and then she like falls in love with him or something like that. So she starts stalking him instead of Bugs.
Oh god, I don't remember that episode.
I want to say it's her stalking Daffy because again, she like helps him with this really small thing and then she just falls in love with him.
I mean, yeah, that does sound like that version of Lola.
Well, it's like I remember there's a YouTuber I follow that Patrick Willems. He does these fucking fantastic analysis on like the Muppets and animation and other like film stuff. And I remember,
I know that guy. He does great videos.
Yeah, I remember he did this video on Space Jam, and he explained it in a way that I'd never really heard somebody say it because he hates Lola Bunny. And I remember he had said like, I hate Lola Bunny because she is not a character, which, yeah, she's not really much of a character. And
in the original Space Jam, no.
Yeah,
really
yeah. He said that, which I agree. That's always been kind of my issue with Lola Bunny is that she's not really a character. She just shows up. She doesn't really have a character introduction. She just shows up. Bugs flirts with her, and that's it. And we get like no other character out of her in the whole movie after that.
Yeah. Like that's why I point out the Looney Tunes show version, because they actually gave her a personality. Like if you want to include like a female character in Looney Tunes, all right, sure, make them loony.
That's kind of my thing because she solely exists for sex appeal.
Yeah,
which is weird when you say she's a Looney Tunes character. Like she is a Looney Tunes character made for sex appeal. I think he had said like, she is a female character written by a group of men who don't know how to write a female character. Like,
yeah.
Which, to be fair, that was a lot of stuff in the 90s. That was a lot of stuff in the 90s. Because I remember Have you ever seen the behind the scenes of Pocahontas?
I haven't. I'm not gonna lie. I actually know very little about that movie.
Okay, so there was a when the movie was coming out, they obviously did like those behind the scenes like featurette things. There was an image that I found because of an animation friend of mine, and she said, "Have you ever seen like this behind the scenes image from like when they were designing concept art for Pocahontas?" And I was like, "No." And she showed me the image, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, you want to talk about how a lot of animation back in the day was like a boys club with some things. Oh my God, this is real. Let me send this to you. This is a real image of concept art.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I love the bottom text with just like the no with like the slim chest, then yes with the big
the
boobs.
big chest. Yeah. For people, I'll edit it into the video while we're like I'll edit the image into the video to like show people what we're talking about. But
oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, there's an image of one of the concept artists drawing Pocahontas, and it is cartoonishly scantily clad.
Yeah, which is really upsetting because wasn't Pocahontas like
a 11-year-old girl?
Yeah, that's not the best taste.
No, well, I mean, the movie Pocahontas is not the best taste as a whole.
Yeah.
But
that's the one thing I do know about the movie. Wasn't that expected to be like the next big movie at Disney?
Yes,
like
Lion King was the B team.
Yeah, whereas like
which
Pocahontas
is so
was the A
yeah,
team.
Pocahontas was considered like the A movie, and Lion King was the B movie when they were working on both films.
Which is so funny.
Well, that's like the Prince of Egypt and Shrek thing. Have you heard that before?
Oh yeah,
how Shrek was the B movie when they were working on Prince of Egypt. Which, to be fair, Prince of Egypt is also an A movie, but
yeah. Oh yeah, no, like it didn't do horrible.
It did well. It did good. It didn't flop. It was a hit, but it wasn't Shrek.
Yeah, no, Shrek was a massive hit, but both are good movies for different reasons.
Yeah, no, Pocahontas is like one of those, like, that's one of those things where I remember I was talking to a friend. It's actually why she showed me this image. I was like thinking back on like how the 90s, I was like looking back on old movies and animated shows back then, and I had never really thought about how like the majority of like female characters in the 90s are like over the top, like I guess they are sexualized.
The artists were very horny.
Yes, the way I described it, I always say it as like I think the animator wanted to fuck this character.
Yeah, which look, here's the thing. There's
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But
if you want to make an OC that's just for the sake of like being hot or being something that you're attracted to, by all means go off. I'd say just be honest about it.
That's because if you look at that era, I want to say the era from like 90, I'd say like 1990 to like 2004. You look at like most major animated films and TV shows, oh my God, every animated woman is like a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Like,
one of my favorite examples of that is with Oda, the creator of One Piece.
Oh God.
Someone like asked him just like, you know, to give like a demonstration of how he draws women, and he literally shows it. He just draws 2 circles for the boobs and then an X for the body.
We respect. We mean this with complete sincerity. We respect women on this podcast. We are not saying this in a degrading way. We're
not at all. Not at all. I just think it's really funny.
No, we're not being degrading here. I'm saying it more from the case of like looking back on this. I just never thought about how just overly sexualized so many characters were back then. When I talked to my animation friend about this, because she's a huge animation nut, and she said, well, yeah, because most animated movies back then were boys clubs.
Yeah,
like
that's what's gonna happen.
That's why the majority of women back then were like so overly curvy and busty or flirty. Like it was just and that's not saying that there were not women working on those productions, but if you look at a lot of Disney movies from that era, a lot of concept artists are dudes. In fact, most of them normally are.
Yeah, like again, just to reiterate, I don't think there's anything wrong with drawing stuff like that. You know,
No.
draw what you like, but I do definitely think there should also be more variety in like
Well,
how that's portrayed.
I remember actually the person I interviewed last week, CR. I remember I've always had this in my head. This is like the Bruce Timm, the head of the DCAU from like the 90s to like the early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he did concept art and character designs for like every fucking character after with Superman the Animated Series on, like to Justice League. He did like everything. Or he at least did a very big majority of those designs.
Yeah, he's got a very distinct angular art style.
Oh, it's like one of my favorite art styles ever is his art style.
Fantastic.
But I remember Bruce Timm is very much into pinups, which you can very easily tell from how he draws women.
He has whole art books that are just pinups.
Yeah. I remember when I interviewed CR, I didn't talk about this with him, but I remember there's always been this thing I've had in my head with how he described Bruce Timm and like characters from back in that era. He said, Bruce Timm is the only person I can think of where even when he designs a woman that is meant to not be conventionally attractive, there's still an 8 out of 10. Like,
oh, the man loves women.
well, it's like, it's the same thing with, I remember somebody who like reviewed Aladdin years ago, and I remember they had described all of the women in Aladdin. He had described them as like the characters that the animators had way too much fun animating. Like, that's it. Aladdin is like the one movie I look back on and I'm like, I understand that it's trying to be culturally like. It's trying to at least be, like, culturally respective, like, with how some of the designs for the outfits look and things like that. But at the same time, every woman in that movie is absurdly, like, oh my god. Like, every woman in Aladdin is like, they all have the same figure. Like, every single one.
I actually got a personal story involving a similar issue to that.
Really?
Yeah, this is back when I was making my thesis film for school. I have the short on my YouTube channel. It's called LMJ. It's about this graffiti artist running away from this insane businessman after she spray painted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So while I was making that film, like showing it to like my advisors, like for the film, and showing the character designs and all that stuff. They really liked it. The one note they gave was they asked me to get rid of the main character Jess. They asked me to get rid of her crop top because they saw that as being a sexual image.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like that's borderline like conservative level like censorship.
Yeah, and I was pretty shocked when I heard
that's
that.
Well, that's like to me a crop top is not inherent. Well, I guess to be fair, I think most outfits are not inherently sexual, but like I guess it's like the stigma of how that outfit has always been presented within animation. Because I'm thinking because I think back to Lola Bunny, because Lola Bunny's got a crop top jersey, which is very, very impractical for basketball when you think about it. A crop top jersey is probably not the most practical thing to wear while playing basketball. Or I'm trying to even think. Well, I guess the belly dancer outfit, I guess, is another thing that is now kind of viewed as a sexualized thing, even though belly dancing is not inherently sexual. I'd very strongly argue that the crop top is not inherently a sexual outfit, because I know lots of women that just wear them just because they like to, and I was not at all intending for Jess's design to be sexual in any way. Like, I'll post a picture like in voice chat just to show you what she looked like. Yeah, I don't think that looks inherently sexual at all. Well, yeah, what is it like the character? I look at that and I immediately thought of a fucking Hi Puffy Amiyumi.
Oh yeah, that was a big inspiration for my art style.
That's like because I think doesn't I don't remember which one is which. The purple-haired one, doesn't she wear a crop top?
I think she does.
I think she does. I was gonna say, and that's not treated as inherently sexual.
Yeah, I just wanted to make her look like a punk, and I just thought, oh yeah, like punks wear crop tops.
Well, yeah, I thought of like Gwen from Total Drama. Like that's like.
So in order to prove to them that this wasn't an inherently sexual design, me and Millie, my partner, put together a whole compilation of animated characters in kid shows.
Are you serious?
That have crop tops and are not meant to be sexualized in any way. I showed Starfire from Teen Titans, Amethyst in Steven Universe, that bug lady in Musha Lucha. I made a whole compilation.
You made a PowerPoint presentation of crop top characters.
Yeah, just to show that it's not an inherently sexual thing, and it worked. They didn't give me any notes after that.
Well, yeah, it's God, oh my God, have you ever heard those Gravity Falls stories of like the FCC that Alex Hirsch has talked about?
Yeah, the standards of practice notes.
No, that's what that was reminding me of when you said that, because I was just thinking like we can't have crop top because crop top is too sexual. I'm like, why? Like, are hips inherently sexual? Like,
I don't believe so. Personally.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, do I think hips are attractive? Like, yes, I think curvy hips can be attractive, but I don't think that is inherently sexual to have a character with, like, what does that say about what oh God, it's the same thing CR said. I'm pretty sure women with big hips can't help that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's kind of the flip side of the argument, is that there are sometimes just curvy or voluptuous women who exist, and they just are. They're not inherently sexual because they have that.
Well, yeah, I remember I think he had said the same thing, because I remember he talked about when they removed Miss Bellum from the Powerpuff reboot, and they had said like one of the reasons they removed her is because they thought she was too overly sexualized, and they like pointed out like the crop top and the cleavage showing, and I just remember he had said like I'm pretty sure women with big boobs can't help having big boobs. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, maybe it's just because I was a naive kid, but like when I watched Powerpuff Girls, I never thought of that when I saw
he said the
Miss
same thing. He said, when I watched this as a kid, I never thought of it as a sexualized thing.
Like, yeah, you only see her body and never her head. I always thought the joke was just that she was tall.
Yeah. Well, and even then, when they, like, because I know that they've talked about in the production that they had said, like, oh, I think there's, like, a story of, like, one of the animators saying that, like, standards and practices had said, like, oh, you can't have her. Because originally her outfit was, like, a lot more revealing. I think it was, like, a window dress, like Power Girl from the DC comics. Like, that was originally what her dress looked like, where it was just, like, a window for the cleavage. And I think they'd originally told them, like, no, you can't do that. You can't have her wear a dress like that. But it was supposed to be like 60s, like kind of 60s World of Tomorrow-esque kind of outfit. Uh-huh. And they didn't allow it because they didn't like the boob window. And they had said like, oh, so we redesigned her and we gave her this suit and we just opened up the cleavage, and for some reason they didn't care because she was wearing a suit. Which I'm like, yeah, okay. Like,
that is always the weirdest stories I hear from people who work in TV, getting notes from censors or standards or practices and stuff, where they barely change anything and suddenly it's fine.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they don't change it at all. They just say they do, and they're like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, you know the story of Slimer in Ghostbusters, right?
Oh yeah.
How it's supposed to be John Belushi, but that when they interviewed the guy who made the model for Slimer, he said, I just said it looked like John Belushi, and they said, yeah, it looks like John Belushi, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, you know what? It worked.
Like, he said, I think he said like he got that note within like the last like 48 hours of like making the model or something, and he was like, well, I've already got like everything ready and there's no way I can make a change like that in 48 hours. So I just like gave them the finished model of a Slimer and just told them it looked like John Belushi.
Hey, you know what? Power move. You got the praise without having to do any extra work. I love that.
Yeah. Well, it's like working hard without working that hard. Like,
Exactly.
well, and I guess
I
another
love stories
thing,
like that.
I guess another thing I was wondering about, because you have Local Freak, which is
Yeah.
now your I guess series. Would you say?
Yeah,
I guess
I have 2 episodes. So
I was gonna
yeah,
say
that
it
counts.
would be considered a series now. And I guess how's the process been working on you're doing your more independent work?
Definitely tough. Just because I pretty much have to work on it in my free time. The newest short that I just finished, Brick and Murder, took me over a year to get done, and it was specifically just because I was working on it on weekends or maybe 1 or 2 hours a week, basically just whenever I had the time to do it. So it's definitely difficult, but at the same time, it's very, very fulfilling. I had a brief time where after I finished school and like while COVID was happening, I kind of hit a funk and I just didn't want to make anything of my own.
Yep, that's what
So
COVID does. That's
Yeah,
what COVID
so-
does.
Yeah, no, COVID was not fun. So I just kind of focused on doing professional work for a while, and from 2020 to 2023, that was basically all that I did, aside from just 1 or 2 little animations I did for fun. And it was fine. I was getting my name out there. I was working on a bunch of cool projects. It was fine, but I definitely was starting to feel an itch that something was missing. And that hit me hard when I saw the first episode of Digital Circus. I watched that and I enjoyed it a lot. I absolutely love what they did with it, and it just made me miss making my own cartoons so much that literally about a week after the episode came out, I wrote the first draft of the script for Brick and Murder.
Do you ever have like a religious experience with like something you watch where you're just like, oh, this makes me want to do things. Like this makes
Yeah.
me want to actually do things.
Yeah, Digital Circus was that. 100% it was that. And yeah, I got it done. And yeah, even the it's gotten some attention, not a whole lot, but the attention it has been getting has been very, very positive, which I really, really appreciate. I'm so glad people like it.
Oh, yeah, no, I really, really like the new one.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad. So with that, I'm definitely going to try to keep making more of those. I've already started writing the next one that I want to do. And I've also been just kind of writing a general kind of Bible for the series, like just what is the world like? What are other characters I want to introduce? Stuff like that. I've been kind of winging it so far, so I want to try and have an actual plan.
Have the lore.
Yeah, it's not going to be a serialized show at all. It's not going to have some grand overarching story. It's going to be very episodic, but I want to at least have an idea of what the world is like.
Would you have it be like would you have it be like one of those shows with the type of show it is? I feel like it is one of those shows where you could have it in a bubble where like you could have like a Robotomy or a South Park where a character can die and just come back the next episode with no comment kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
pretty much, especially since the characters are already dead.
well, yeah,
Really.
that's what I was thinking. Was it seemed like the kind of show where you could have that kind of nihilistic view of characters getting killed off and then coming back with like no comment the next episode.
Yeah, that's definitely something I have in mind. I want the show to have a very tongue-in-cheek kind of, the death doesn't really matter anymore kind of vibe. Like they'll still go through threats and they'll still be scared, but they'll probably be fine afterwards.
Well, I guess what was the main thing that made you? Because Brick and Murder is the one, the blockbuster type building, and I guess what was the main idea behind that?
Oh, that was based entirely off of real experience. So
Oh, you
the
broke
video
into a
store-
blockbuster?
I didn't, but I thought about it.
Oh.
So the video store is based off an actual video store that I went to as a kid called Video 99, and no joke, I literally just ripped off the design exactly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like that's why I have that gag where it's constantly changing numbers. That's kind of my way of being legally safe. Because I don't know if that brand still exists or not anymore. Probably not.
Well, let's see, Video 99.
Yeah.
There's like nothing on Google about it at all.
Yeah, it was a local place.
I was gonna say it's because when I was growing up, there was a place called Sunnycrest Video, and it was explicitly like just a one store. Like, it was just a one video store place. There wasn't, like, more of them.
Here, I found a photo of, I guess one location, just so you know what it would look like. So, yeah, that was a place I went to a lot as a kid. It closed down, I think, in 2009 or 2010. And for a long time, they just did nothing with the building. It was just, the logo was still on there, but it was all boarded up. And for 10 plus years, they just did nothing with that place. It was just collecting dust. And until not too long ago,
they turned it into the Temple of Prayer and Praise. looking
God,
at that picture.
God, I wish, but no, it was a something happened. I was in the area because Millie, my partner, was working at a diner at the time nearby there. So I was just going to pick her up. Her shift finished at 10 p.m. I was just picking her up to take her home. And as I was walking over, I saw the old video store again, and I just saw a white van parked in the corner of it, and the lights were on. I had no idea what was going on in there, but I was very sure there was some type of something involving drugs going on in there. I wanted to approach, but I was way too scared that I was going to get shot, so I just kept walking and pretended I didn't see it. That stayed in my head, and I just thought, why don't I make a cartoon about that? So I did.
Oh, because have you ever heard about that video store that's like frozen in time?
Which one is that? I might have.
It's I remember. I gotta figure. I found the image, but I'm trying to remember where it is. I know it's in the States somewhere, but I don't remember where the hell it is. But it's closed. It closed in like 2001, and they've just left it. Everything is still in there. Like, everything.
Really?
It is literally... And it's got a big-ass window, so you can look in it and just see... It's literally frozen in time. Like, they left it how it looked in 2001. And
Wow.
it's become, like, a local... monument, basically. And apparently there's been, like, threats to tear it down, and every time it happens, there's, like, huge backlash, and they never end up tearing it down.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I found one image of it. How fucking sun-bleached these VHS tapes look.
Oh my god. Yeah, so yeah, just no one has touched this thing.
No, like, I watched a video of... I remember seeing a video of it on a TikTok, I think, where somebody... Yeah, TNT Music and Videos. Yeah, I found an image of it. I can't find where it is though when I'm looking at it. Yeah, here's that's what it looks like.
Wow. That's actually so cool. I love that people are trying to keep this preserved as like a time capsule.
Yeah, no, even like the computers and everything, like, is just all there.
That's awesome. You know, let's just hope there's not a cult running that one too.
And I guess there's also I guess one of the big things you did a long time ago was this SpongeBob animation.
Oh yeah, that's probably like gonna forever be the most popular thing I ever make.
Well, yeah, 11 million views from what I'm seeing on YouTube. But I remember, I think I saw that before I even met you. Because I met you...
Really?
I met you 5 years ago. So yeah, I definitely... I definitely saw that before I met you. 7 years ago.
Yeah, so yeah, that's when I made it 7 years ago. Wow, Jesus.
Well, I remember, isn't that one of those things where you've said, like, people have, like, stolen that video and, like, ripped it, like, like, countless times?
Oh, so much. And I imagine it probably has only, like, happened more since then. Like, by this point, I don't really care, because I get it. It's a funny little animation of SpongeBob saying fuck. That's gonna spread around like wildfire.
Well, I think it's one of those things where I always see when people go like, well, why didn't you watermark it? And I'm like, because people will find ways to remove fucking watermarks.
Yeah. I even have my little signature in the corner, and I've seen re-uploads where they just crop that out.
Or they crop it, or they, like, shrink the video down just enough so you just can't see the fucking logo anymore, basically.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's fine, I guess. If you're gonna do it, I ask you just credit me at least, and also don't monetize it, please.
I remember a while back there was a YouTube channel I found, and somebody actually like brought it to my attention. Somebody had stolen like one of my voice things from Twitter and put it on YouTube, and I copyright claimed them because I was like, you have no fucking right to steal this. But when I looked through their channel, the dude had stolen like 60 videos. Not mine, other people's shit. Like, that was all his channel comprised of, was like stolen videos.
Yeah, some people just do that.
And it wasn't even like sketches or anything. It was like full animations and shit like that. I saw like Coda, I saw Zarel in there, like tons of people were in there. And I'm like, and he wasn't doing anything. He didn't even crop out watermarks or anything. He just stole the videos and re-uploaded them.
I mean, that happens even more on websites like Instagram and TikTok. I've seen pages where people will just repost nonstop stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, no. But Instagram's the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Instagram is the fucking worst. Like, with fucking stolen content.
Yeah. It's kind of just an unfortunate... it's an unfortunate reality of just being on the internet. People are just going to do stuff like that. It is what it is. You know, best thing you can do is just, if someone is like making money off of your stuff, just report them, you know, get them to stop.
Whenever I see that, I just kind of get to a point where I'm like, what do you, like, especially when it's like channels where they're not making money. I'm like, what do you gain from like stealing all those videos?
Attention.
Ugh.
That's literally it, just attention.
My favorite are the ones who like lie and say that they made the videos. Those are like my absolute favorite ones. Because every time I see that, I will always see like the person who actually made it show up in the comments and be like, yeah, cool, no you didn't. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Best thing I can say to people who do that is, you can make your own thing. It's hard, it's scary, but it's very, very fulfilling and satisfying when you can actually do it. So please just try that instead. If you don't want to, then just stop. Do something else. Do something.
If you can't be creative, just fucking do something else.
Like, dude, I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm above those people. I used to just trace stuff when I was.
Everybody did. Like I said, when I made my old comics, I literally just ripped designs and just renamed them. Like,
yeah. Everyone steals when they're starting out. I will not knock anyone for doing that. Just, you know, learn from that and learn to be your own person through that.
I remember like reading a thing how like Ralph Bakshi back in the day when he was doing, because a lot of his movies use rotoscoping. I remember he got shit for that back in the day. Like, a lot of animators like gave him shit for that. And said, like, why are you rotoscoping, like, the majority of your movies? And I remember his response was always, like, because Disney did that all the fucking time.
They did. They absolutely did. Have you ever seen Snow White? That movie is extremely rotoscoped.
Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty are, like, mostly rotoscoped. Like,
yeah.
Snow White, it's just all rotoscoped. Like...
Yeah. Like, with the exception of the dwarves, it's all rotoscoped.
Maleficent, like Sleeping Beauty is not all rotoscope, but there's a good chunk of it that is. Cinderella especially.
Yeah. With Sleeping Beauty, they did a better job, I think, hiding the rotoscoping, so it looks
I think it's
more
because Sleeping Beauty is a lot more stylized compared to Cinderella.
Yeah. There's a lot less of that wobble that you see with rotoscoping, and they're not trying as hard to make it just look like the person they're tracing after. It feels more like they're using it as a reference.
Like, there's one shot in Sleeping Beauty I always notice is rotoscoped, but it's a great looking shot, but I can tell it's a rotoscope shot. It's that bit right before Maleficent disappears. She does that evil laugh before she like right at the beginning of the movie, like right before she like fucking goes back off and then boosh and then she disappears. She does this laugh, and when she does like the turnaround when she laughs, it's very obviously rotoscoped. Because it moves way too smooth. Like, it moves way, way, way too smooth compared to some of the animation in the movie. But it still looks really good, is the thing. It's still a great-looking shot. It's just very obvious that it was a rotoscoped shot.
It's just another method to save time, and I get it. You know? Besides, in a lot of those cases, they're still recording the footage that they're drawing over. It is still original work, so go for it.
One of my favorites, whenever I think about Ralph Bakshi, I always think of like my favorite story from him was have you ever heard the story about how he pitched the Mighty Mouse cartoon in the 80s?
Remind me. I think I've heard it, but I want to hear it again.
Well, okay, so not that he pitched, but he was talking to Standards and Practices. So the show was already greenlit, and he was talking to someone on the phone from Standards and Practices about what he can and can't do. And at one point, the guy who was in Standards and Practices had said basically, like, a lot of this is hearsay, so, like, technically, like, some of these things don't have to be followed. And so Ralph stopped him and went, "So what are you saying is, I don't have to do a single thing you just told me." Well, yes, click. And he just hung up right after he just said, like, "I was on the phone with this guy for, like, 25 minutes. And it ended, and all he said was, I didn't have to listen to him, so I hung up on him." Like,
oh my god. Oh, jeez, Bakshi is such a character.
he is fucking insane. He is absolutely insane, but I fucking love him. Like,
wasn't there that one story about how he halted production for a day because he couldn't find his car keys?
oh my god, no. Have you ever heard the story about one of my favorites? There's a documentary about the making of the Mighty Mouse cartoon from the 80s. Because do you know how insane the production for that show was? And I don't mean because Ralph Bakshi made it. I mean the people involved in that show.
I don't actually. All I know was that was one of John Kay's first jobs.
Yeah, it was also Bruce Timm's first job.
What?
Yeah, Bruce Timm,
No way.
Andrew Stanton, Jeff Pigeon.
Holy shit.
Yes. No. If you look at the crew of the Mighty Mouse cartoon, it is one of the most important cartoons of the last 40 years. Because that show was the first major gig for all of those guys.
That's wild.
No, I need to pull up and there's a whole documentary about the behind the scenes of it. And they interview like all these guys. Like Bruce Timm and Jeff Pigeon and Andrew Stanton and John Kay, and they interview all these guys about the show. And they're just talking about their experiences. I need to find like the list of people that worked on it.
Can you send me this documentary? This sounds so insane.
Oh, and they talk about the making, like some weird behind the scenes stories with him, with Ralph Bakshi. Where is it at? Oh, here it is. Yeah, Breaking the Mold, remaking Mighty Mouse. That's the name of the documentary.
All right, I am definitely adding this to the list.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. I found a list of people who worked on the show. Andrew Stanton, John Kay, Bruce Timm, Tom Mitton, like one of the guys who helped make some of the like Animaniacs and that kind of stuff. Jim Reardon from The Simpsons.
Wow.
Let's see, Jeff Pigeon, who again was like for Pixar. He was like the Little Green Man, and he's been like an alumni at Pixar since Toy Story. Vicky Jensen, which let me see who that is.
Oh, she directed Shrek.
Oh, yeah. Kent Butterworth, which I know I've heard that name, but I don't remember. Kent Butterworth. Animation director for The Simpsons.
Holy crap!
For the first season.
It kind of reminds me of Flapjack. How a lot of big.
How Flapjack is like one of the most important cartoons of the last 20 years.
Yeah, because there was J.G. Quintel, Pendleton Ward,
Alex Hirsch.
Yeah, they all worked on Flapjack.
Because I know a lot of people say like Adventure Time is, and Adventure Time is important, but Flapjack is the reason Adventure Time exists.
Exactly. So. Yeah, it's wild.
But yeah, no, I remember one of the stories was Jeff Pigeon had said while he was on his lunch break, And I guess they had like a TV in the lunchroom, and he had never seen I have to look. What was the fucking movie? He had never seen American Pop, the Ralph Bakshi movie. He had never seen it, so he was like watching it on his lunch break, and he was like 20, 30 minutes in, and Ralph walked in, and he was like, "Oh, you liking my movie?" And Jeff was like, "Yeah, it's a really good movie." And he was like, "I paused the movie, I got up, I threw my lunch away," and Ralph went, "What the hell are you doing?" And he was like, "I'm going back to work, Ralph." "No, you're sitting here and you're watching my fucking movie." And he sat him down and made him watch the rest of American Pop.
Oh my god! Hey, you know, I get it. You worked hard on that movie. You want to make sure the people watch it.
It's just so. There's also my favorite story out of all of them is like when he lost his teeth, because you know that because Ralph Bakshi doesn't have some teeth, like some of his teeth are fake. So he was having a meeting with executives about the show. Like it was like one of the big meetings before the show had been like was going to hit the TV, and he had lunch and he took his teeth out. And he left his teeth on the tray, and he accidentally threw his teeth away. And so he told Jeff Pigeon and Andrew Stanton to go dumpster diving for his teeth.
Oh, would you even want to wear the teeth after that, though?
He didn't care. He had no time, and he didn't. And he was like, "No, you're gonna go dumpster diving for my teeth." And they did, and they found them. And they barely had time to even wash them off. And he just shoved them in his mouth. He didn't even care. He just shoved them in his mouth and was like, "Thanks, guys. I was 4 minutes late to my meeting." Like, the dude is fucking insane, and I kind of love him. Like,
he's a cartoon character in of himself. Like, even just his voice, the heavy New York accent mixed with the lisp, like, he sounds like a freaking character.
it was like, I remember, I think he, like, did, was it, like, adult party cartoon? Because I remember he played the fireman, and they modeled the fireman off of him, I think, in adult party cartoon, and I think he literally just did that for free. I don't think he even did it for pay, if I remember correctly.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, that's the one where that meme face comes from. Like the dude like sitting in the
yeah, he's sitting up in bed. Yeah. Well, I guess to finish this up, what is advice you'd want to give for people who are interested in getting into animation?
I have a lot. I'm trying to think of a specific one, if that makes sense. All right, so I guess in terms of if you want to properly learn animation, like what you can do to just get better at animating, I'd say study acting. Study videos of real life people frame by frame, analyze the way they move, the way they express themselves, all the little things people do when they're talking. There is so much in there and so much you can learn from that. And not even just live action acting, study other animations too. Just like you see a lot of videos where people record themselves as reference for before they animate. They do that for a reason. It helps out a lot with just kind of noticing all the little nuances and things people do when they talk. So I guess in terms of general animation advice, I'd say that. In terms of finding work, it's definitely tough right now because there is a huge animation drought going on. It is not going to last. I very, very strongly believe that. My best advice is just be persistent. Be very, very, very persistent. No, it does not matter how many times you apply to the same place. They are not going to not hire you because you applied in the past. Like that is not a thing. If they need people to work on the job and they think you're good enough, they will hire you. Even no matter how many times you've applied in the past. I say this from experience. I applied to Titmouse 6 times before I got the job on TMNT.
Well, like over a year, 2 years?
Like 2 years. I I initially applied to be on Invincible Fight Girl. I did a test, didn't get on that one, and then I applied for a bunch of other various projects, didn't get in any of them, and then I got lucky with TMNT. So yeah, it happens. So yeah, that's just my best general advice. Be persistent. Other piece of advice I can think of is, I'd say be social. Just talk to people, make friends, get to know who are like the type of people you're working with. Animation is a very, very social job, so just get your name out there. Like the more you meet people, like not only the more friends you make, but the more people know who you are.
Well, I always say it's the same thing with voiceover. Make connections.
Yeah.
That's always the big thing. Make connections.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like even if it doesn't lead to anything, which it might not always, you'll get some friends out of it, which is always nice,
Oh, yeah, no, I have met probably like 80% of my friend circle just because of being a voice actor.
Yeah, like it's a kind of no lose scenario. You either make connections or you just make some friends.
Well, the ironic thing is I've made more animator and art friends than I've made voice actor friends.
I mean, hey, well, we talk to each other. That's the whole thing. We kind of need to talk to you guys in order to like get voices for our things.
Hire me.
Hey, if there's a role that I think would fit you, I'll let you know. By all means, and hey, if I am ever auditioning for something, feel free to apply.
Oh no, I would. If I see friends do projects, I normally try to audition if there's something I feel like I can actually do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You are always welcome to. And same thing goes to you watching right now. If you want to apply for things, do it. You are always welcome to.
Yes, you people who are not animators or voice actors, go out and voice act right now. Get a job. It's easy. Get a job right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy.
What's the Gary? I think of the bit Gary Anthony Williams from the Boondocks. I remember on the documentary I Know That Voice, he had this bit. I'm like, there has never been a job this easy. Go out right now. You will get jobs and you will get thousands of dollars. Like,
God, I wish.
It is the easiest job in the world. Put yourself out there and make millions and millions of dollars and you will be drowning in drugs. Like...
You know what? I love that enthusiasm. Hey, I mean, you never know. You genuinely never know with this kind of thing. Like, it can be very discouraging when you apply to a lot of things and constantly get no's. I know. Like, trust me, I totally understand that. I promise you, and I mean this completely genuinely, I promise you, that does not mean you are not good enough, and that does not mean you will never be good enough. You just gotta keep doing it. It can be very mentally exhausting. It can be very draining. But just keep going at it, and I promise you, it will lead to things.
Oh no, I've had that thing for years where I've talked to other people where I've said, like, you feel like you're doing something wrong when you keep not getting gigs, like, and it's hard not to like beat yourself up sometimes with that kind of stuff. Like, you feel like, did I do something wrong? Did I record something the wrong way? Did my mic do something wrong that I didn't know? And I assume it's the same thing with animation, where you just feel like you did something wrong. Like,
I mean, hell, that's what happened with me with Space Jam. They literally came to me asking if I could work on it. I'm like, yeah, sure. And they're like, actually, no. I'm like, what did I do? Yeah, it just happens sometimes. It sucks. It never stops sucking, but it is what it is. You kind of just gotta pick yourself up and keep going. And I promise it'll lead to things.